Hi, I'm Corey and welcome back to Diary of a Blonde Mom. Today I am going to spend some time to go through our curriculum picks for my almost third grade daughter. We are using The Good and Beautiful for language arts, math, as well as science. So I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the things that we love about the curriculum and how I utilize it each piece in our day. So to begin with, I just really love their science units. We are going to, this next school year, be going over a mammals unit, wonders of energy, as well as motion and simple machines. So if you happen to look really closely, you'd see here it says grades 7 through 8. And I did just mention also that my daughter is going into third grade. It was not an accident whatsoever. So I believe so much that it's incredibly beneficial to work on extended science concepts together to deepen understanding and critical thinking. I'll show you kind of what I mean with that. So I was just flipping through here earlier, and for lesson 7, there's all these descriptions. This is what would be within the more elementary science journal. There's all these descriptions as well as the pictures of the animals that you're supposed to match the description to the animal. There's the page for notes. What's special about the 7th and 8th, what's extra in here, is this lesson extension. And here there's some information about meerkats and mongoose, and also hyenas. What the 7th and 8th grade extension requires you to do is read the information, create a Venn diagram to compare and contrast the animals, and write 3 to 5 bullet points of things that you've learned about one of the specific animals. Just because my daughters are younger doesn't mean that they're not capable of doing this. It's just so beneficial to deepen understanding and more critical thinking. And the way that you can go about doing that is working on it together first. You work on it together and you scaffold. Scaffolding means that you're just creating one block at a time for their learning so that eventually you're doing it together. Then you start giving them a little bit of work that you do together and then more that they do independently. And then eventually, when they have more of an understanding of what they are to do and the concepts, and they are getting the critical thinking, then you can kind of release the learning to them. So eventually, after working on things like that with them, even though that they're young, you're giving them the steps to be able to do the work independently. The next thing I wanted to talk about is their math. I know for a fact The Good and the Beautiful comes with math boxes for 2nd and 3rd grade. I don't believe they do for 4th, and I know, well, they didn't when we have used the 4th grade, and the 5th grade hasn't come with one, and the 6th grade did not come with one either. However, these math boxes for the younger grades are very beneficial. Manipulatives make learning more tangible when there's hands-on learning. So let's take a peek inside. The first thing we see is there's a little calendar and some information about temperature, or some tasks about temperature. Then we have an array, which I'm sure will come in handy with some of the curriculum that we'll be diving into. Different dice, some of them are regular dice, and then there's the wooden ones have, say, quarts and cups, so different measurements. Game pieces, there are lots of really short but concise and beneficial games that help the kids to learn. When you think that you're just having fun and playing a game, the learning is less excruciating. Tape measure. And my daughter was going through this box earlier when it came in, and she, I think, was most excited about these here. So we'll see how we utilize those this next school year. Set that aside. We also were given a whiteboard. Those come in handy. Here is her math course book. I'll go ahead and show you kind of how it's one lesson set up, and I'm just flipping to a random lesson in here. So this right here happens to be lesson 62. This is what I tell my girls is our work together work. So what we do is, while I'm working with one of my girls, so say I'm doing this with my 7-year-old, my other daughter will be doing what we call her independent work or her review work on her own. So then here's the lesson practice. So they get some practice directly from what we just worked on. And then this is what I was talking about, the review and activities. So they would do this and this on their own. And the review and activities is information that's nothing new, and that they're able to literally, as it says, review what they have learned recently. And it's a review of typically what I've seen is that whole unit. So it's just drawing back on previous skills that they have recently learned. And as I was saying, using that review time when they are working independently is really important to me, homeschooling multiple children, because I'm able to take that time and work with my other child. Which moves us along to language arts. I do enjoy the Good and the Beautiful's language arts. They include art, geography, spelling, phonics, parts of speech, writing, and so this is their course book. It's similar to the math course book in that there's a lesson that you do together. Like I mentioned, we call it our together work. And then there's independent work and review in here. So just again, flipping to a random page. This happens to be lesson 67. So this is something that I do together with my daughter. And lesson practice. So this is something that she does that helps her review and remember what we just worked on, but doing it in a more independent fashion. So as I was describing earlier with the science, this is a way of scaffolding. You're doing it together, you're releasing some responsibility, and they are working on the lesson practice, maybe asking for help if they need. And then the independent work here is supposed to be just that, independent. So while she's working on this, I'll be working with my older daughter. One of the things that I've really appreciated about the Good and the Beautiful's curriculum is the reading has very positive messages. Oftentimes I find a lot of the books that the kids are interested in have to do with mocking authority figures, and these books just bring very strong like family values, and I appreciate that. So on her reading list, and I believe these are all written by people I think who work for the Good and Beautiful: The Kingdom of Kind, The Journey of Five, Timothy of the 10th Floor, and Heather and the Highland Pony. I really enjoy doing the parent readers with my daughter. My oldest daughter, we don't have a parent reader in the same sense, and she just has independent reading that she does, but we actually do it together. I make her curriculum accessible to her, but I'll leave that for another video. So my 7-year-old, what we do is, say she's assigned to read chapter 8, and it'll give the assigned readings within the language arts course book. So there's a part that it says student, so the student reads, and then there's a part that is for parents, so parent and teacher read, and then the student reads. I really appreciate these. it gives us kind of a bonding activity to do over reading. It helps me to help her whenever maybe she's coming across words or different phonics sounds that she isn't familiar with. And I'm able to sit and help her one-on-one. It's really nice to have that shared reading time. Like I said, it's just a really great bonding experience that I truly, to my heart, appreciate. Also that goes along with the course book. So in previous or in other grades, my experience with The Good and the Beautiful is the spelling practice is within the course book. However, this year, and it must be an updated version that they have out, they have, it'll say lesson 34, so you'll know, say if you're on lesson 34, it'll tell you in the course book to also complete your spelling. So you'll go ahead and go through this, and this is part of the independent work. So it's a whole little booklet. It's kind of fun, shaped. And so this one right here is her handwriting. In this, I happen to be flipping through, is cursive practice. And my daughter has been so excited about learning how to write in cursive. She's actually taken it upon herself to start learning. So we might be jumping into this a little bit sooner than I had expected. I just love that her love of learning is really showing through. She, since we got the box in the mail last week, is just so excited to dive right in. And so she's told me that she wants to finish up her current schoolwork to go ahead and get started on all of this here as soon as she can. Well, I hope that little flip through and explanation of how I use the curriculum in our homeschool day is helpful to you. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll go ahead and leave a link to the Good and the Beautiful's website in case you yourself are interested in looking into any of it. And if there's anything else that stood out to you, let me know, because we absolutely love it, and I hope you do too.